Self-improvement in and of itself is great and can be absolutely life-changing, but let's be honest, there are so many opinions when it comes to self-improvement, but honestly, some of them are a scam. I've been really into this whole topic for a few years. I've read so many books, I've watched so many videos, I listen to podcasts, I read people's opinions, I can comment online. Let's just say people have opinions. Are those facts? No. And we're gonna get into that today. First one, and we're already starting off strong. You do not become a better person by listening to self-improvement advice. It might be weird for me to say that because I have a channel dedicated to self-improvement, but you do not learn by listening to video after video or reading book after book. You need to actually apply those things into your daily life, because otherwise it's just information that goes in on one ear, out on the other, and it doesn't help you. It just makes you feel better about yourself that you used your time productively by watching a 10-minute video about self-improvement instead of scrolling on TikTok. But actually, it's not changing your life or your daily routine or whatever in any way. The real way to learn something, and this is also backed by all of the study tips that you can find. You learn something, you apply it. You learn something, you apply it. So whenever you watch a video or you read a book, you need to think, how can I apply this into my daily life, and how will I actually apply this tomorrow or next week? But just listening doesn't get you very far. And this is also where repetition comes in, because I read my favorite self-development books multiple times. I just reread them every year or every second year because I find that that's how I get the most value out of it. For instance, Power of Now, or 101 Essays That Will Change the Way You Think, or The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Those are some of my favorite books that I read for the first time years ago, like 5 years ago, and I keep rereading them every now and then because that's how I get the most value out of them. And if you don't want to read the whole book, I've discovered this over the past few months. Short form is gonna be your best friend. I'm affiliated with them. I absolutely love them. They have book summaries. You can also listen to them in audio form. They also have exercises for the book. So it's really a good way to refresh that knowledge and also apply it through exercises, because they literally give you worksheets, and that's the first step to actually improving your life in a practical way. I'll leave my link down below. Check it out. The next weird self-improvement advice is that you need to wait and to learn, and one day you will finally be ready, or you will finally feel like a different person, or just to wake up and be a different person. This also kind of makes you feel good in the moment because you're learning something, you're learning about self-improvement, and it feels good, but then you're not applying it because you keep waiting for that perfect day where you're just suddenly gonna feel different. I don't think it works like that. I think you need to take the day that you have and do the best you can with it. If your dream is to start making videos, you cannot wait until you are perfect at editing, at filming, at scripting in order to start. The natural order is to start with something bad. Of course, if you don't know anything, your first videos are gonna be bad. That's a guarantee, but that's not a bad thing. Through doing it again and again and again, you get better. You do not have to wait to be at the end point to have the most amount of knowledge in order to start something. If you start when you don't have it all figured out, you build confidence because you know that you can go from not knowing anything to figuring it out. Next up, this idea that the goal makes it worth it. I think people tend to focus too much on the goal. And I know this sounds like a quote that you would find on Pinterest, on like a picture with mountains in the background and then this written in like calligraphy on top, but it is about the journey. It truly is about the journey. If you are miserable while you're trying to achieve your goal, maybe you should rethink that goal. Because I get it, goals take work. You want to get fit? That takes a lot of work. You want to build a business? That takes a lot of work. You want to have a YouTube channel? It takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of work consistently, just doing it all over again and trying to be better, spending a lot of time doing one thing again and again and again. But you need to learn to enjoy that process. I'm not saying that waking up at 5 a.m. because you need to go to the gym before you go to work is fun. But from my own experience, I can really say that the journey can be fun. The work, like the time where you are a work in process, is kind of fun. You're trying to figure it out. Maybe you're struggling. Maybe one night you cannot sleep really well, but you still need to wake up early. I think that's part of the game. And I think we should really try to find enjoyment in that as well, because if you think about it, the journey is the longest part. You have journey, until you reach the end goal. The journey is the biggest part of it all, and you need to find a way to enjoy that instead of just waiting for this goal to finally happen, for you to finally reach this goal. Another hustle culture mindset is that you need to cut off everyone in order to do anything in life. Do you remember those TikTok videos with the mouse in the mouse trap, like the animated mouse in the mouse trap? This is so specific. There used to be these hustle-y videos where people would show like a text message of someone texting them, do you want to go out? And then they would just answer no, with really motivational music in that video. And then they would show how they are now driving a Porsche and living in a skyscraper. Fun, but why do you need to cut off everyone? Your support system is so important, and if you have a good support system, keep it, for f***'s sake. Like, what is wrong with you? Why would you cut off people that bring you joy and support you and love you? What is the point? You do not need to cut off everyone. It's really important to have a good support system. You do, however, need to cut off the people who are toxic, the people who bring you down, the people who only talk negatively about yourself, themselves, about others. There are some huge red flags in friends that you need to look out for. And yes, cut those people off. It doesn't mean you need to start drama with them. It just means distancing yourself from them. Because if you feel drained after every single time you go out with someone, that's not a supportive friend. That's not a good friend. That is an acquaintance in the best case. Sure, burn the bridge with those people. But if you have good friends and family members that are supportive, do not cut them off. On the same topic, this idea that friends bully each other. We used to get told when we were in like kindergarten or primary school, I think it's called, if a guy likes you, he will bully you. What the actual f***? Why would you teach young girls that? How is that good or healthy? Why would you normalize that? I don't think someone needs to bully you in order to express their appreciation for you. And I get it. People have different types of sense of humor. I am a very sarcastic person, and honestly, I don't mind a lot of jokes. But at the same time, some people are just assholes. There are some people whose whole sense of humor is making jokes about either you or other people who are present, or minority groups, or just politically incorrect things. And I don't think that that is a sense of humor. That's just you being an asshole. And these people give off such bad vibes. Like, they will be in a group of 10 people and there's gonna be one person whose whole contribution to any conversation is making fun of other people. That's not your sense of humor. That is your lack of character and integrity. Ooh, another scam is this idea that you need to have a lot of friends. And this is tricky because I feel like this is such a high school mindset and we don't want to be the person who peaked in high school. Okay, so let's leave that there. When you are an adult, oftentimes you will have to get along with people even if you might not like their characters very much. And I think that's fine. In a professional setting, work, at university, when you have to do a group project, you need to get along with people. And you should also try to be an okay person. Don't be an asshole to people just because you don't vibe with them. Stay respectful and do your best to communicate well with them. But you do not have to be liked by everyone. And that is absolutely normal. We will not get along with everyone that we meet in this lifetime. And we shouldn't want to. It is a sign of seeking validation from others if you want every person that meets you to like you. Realistically, if you're authentic to yourself and you show your true character, not everyone will like you. And it's good if it's like that. Yeah, I lost the rest of the footage. So let's do it all over again. I'm currently in a cabin. As you can clearly see, this is my vacation. I feel like my voice is really raspy because I just woke up, but bear with me. Romanticizing the struggle. I mean, okay, we love a good underdog story, a good story that starts with like, yeah, I was struggling, then I put in the work, and now I'm this really successful person. We love to hear that because it makes us feel good knowing that you can come from nothing and become someone. But a lot of people romanticize the struggle to an extent that is just not healthy. But some people are so addicted to the struggle and to having problems that they just create more problems for themselves. There's nothing romantic about that. There's nothing good about that. But for some reason, I feel like because we love those stories of I've struggled so much, but now look at where I am, people still romanticize the struggle. Everyone has those parts of their lives that are easier and the parts that are harder, and I think we should just take it as it is and make the best out of it without trying to make it harder. Because why would we do that? It doesn't make any sense. Being humble. This is a very recent thing, but I've gotten to this point where I realized, why do I keep not talking about my accomplishments? Because I feel like it's gonna make people uncomfortable. But if someone else talks about their accomplishments, I'm always happy for them. Why? Because I am not jealous of them, and I can clap for other people because I know that their success doesn't take away from my success. And that just shows that talking about your accomplishments or whatever you have or you own is only considered bragging by people who are jealous of you. So if you're constantly trying to make yourself small and minimize your accomplishments and what you have achieved in order to make people more comfortable and in order to not come across as bragging, then stop doing that. And that's advice for you, and that's advice for me, because I also need to stop doing that. I know I've come a long, long way from where I've been, and I am really proud of that. And I don't speak out about it as much as I should. So stop trying to make yourself small in order to accommodate other people. Okay, this one is actually insane, and it's actually insane that I have heard this so many times in my life. This idea that you will find success once you find a rich man that you can marry. I cannot explain. I've heard this too many times in my life. You'll do this and this once you find a rich man that you're gonna marry. I don't need a rich man. I can be the rich person. What do you mean? Why do I need someone else's success in order to live the life that I want to live? I mean, I can do that for myself. My goal shouldn't be to find a rich man. My goal should be to actually be financially independent so that I can sustain the lifestyle that I want without having to take money from someone else. I mean, what type of advice is that? I really thought we would be over this because this is not the 19th century. This is ridiculous and it's crazy. How many people still hear this to this day? How many women still hear this to this day? Last one, another unfriendly reminder, because this is tough love and you need to hear this. Time doesn't heal. When you are going through something, the first advice is always, well, time heals. No, it doesn't. You need to work on yourself and you need to let yourself feel those feelings and feel the negative feelings and deal with them in order to get through it. Time in itself doesn't heal if you don't work on the thing that causes you pain. You can't just hide these feelings and then expect them to just disappear after a year or 5 or 10. I mean, think of all the generational trauma that people just instill in their children years later because they've had a traumatic childhood. And then 30 years later, or 20 years, or 40 years later, they just perpetuate that. And that clearly shows that time doesn't heal anything if you don't work on that. You can stop the cycle, but you need to work on it. You cannot just forget about it and ignore it and the problem will go away. That's not how it works. All right, I think that was enough tough love for today. Thank you so much for watching. I will finish drinking my coffee. Yeah, that's it. Cheers. Bye-bye.